Hi everybody, Matthew here, Evangelization and Formation Coordinator at Divine Mercy Parish. I just wanted to send out a quick little blurb and a few details regarding this summer's book club, which starts this Thursday. If you haven't heard, we're continuing in our summer book club tradition with the theme from last year as well, which is literature and Catholic imagination. Particularly this summer, we're focusing on Catholic imagination and the topic of the end of the world. As Monsignor said at some of the masses this weekend, this doesn't have so much to do with the second coming, though we'll talk a little bit about some of those details perhaps. It's a broad, expansive exploration of the ideas or the inklings of the end of the world, how people have thought about the end of the world, but particularly how we as Catholics, we as Christians, think about the end of the world, not least in our times in which we're thinking a lot about AI. Many of us probably are fans of dystopian film and fiction. And so this theme is more or less exploring that from a Catholic point of view. Now, our authors this particular summer are not themselves Catholic. One of them is actually still alive, and that is Lois Lowry. And this will be our first book, The Giver. Some of you may have read this in middle school or high school. It's a Newbery Award-winning book. It's a utopian/dystopian novel. It's actually quite accessible. Again, middle school, high school level reading here. The audio book clocks in somewhere just under 3 hours, I believe. So this will be our first book that we'll start discussing as early as this Thursday. We'll be covering the first 12 chapters. They're relatively short chapters and they read pretty quickly. So you'll want to make sure that you get those first 12 chapters done if you're going to come for that by this Thursday. However, if let's say, for example, you're like, I didn't make it on any one of our sessions to the suggested reading pace, that's okay. Come anyway. This is a great book. It's going to be a great work for us to kind of open up our time together. This Thursday's session will be an introductory session in which we'll kind of set the stage with the theme of the end of the world. We'll talk about sort of how Jews and Christians throughout the ages have thought about the end of the world. We'll look at sacred scripture. We'll also look at some of the ways some precursors to Christianity have thought about the end of the world. So this book will be our first work of literature. And again, if you can't get through all of it, that's okay. Just come anyway. Our second book, which will be later downstream, will be C.S. Lewis's third installment of his so-called Space Trilogy or Ransom Trilogy. It's called That Hideous Strength. That Hideous Strength. The subtitle is A Modern Fairy Tale for Grown-Ups. And actually, the book title, interestingly enough, is based on another poem that Lewis cites in the epilogue of the book that has to do with the Tower of Babel, So, and of course, if you've been privy to the news lately, Pope Leo recently released his first encyclical, Magnificat Humanitas, in which he talks a great deal about the Tower of Babel. And so this will be really relevant. This book here is a very interesting book. It's probably the hardest book that we'll read this summer. It's also certainly the thickest. But it's the one that we'll devote the most time to in our sessions. But it's a great book. It's a really interesting novel, an interesting take on Lewis's vision of how modern societies are moving towards sort of transhumanism and all sorts of other things. So really relevant. I'd say it's the most probably prescient books and probably the most like our current time. So That Hideous Strength, C.S. Lewis. It'll be a wild journey. And then finally, and I had to totally jankify this. I forgot my copy of The Road, so I just printed a false cover. Anyway, our third book is The Road by Cormac McCarthy. And this is a dark novel, to be sure. Mature themes, no doubt. And so just be aware. of that. This book is a Pulitzer Prize winning book. I should have noted too that maybe I already did, but The Giver is a Newbery Award winning book. So amazing. Really, really good literature there. This book, The Road, it was a Pulitzer Prize winning book. It's an amazing book. It's actually, in spite of it being as dark as it is a dystopia. It is it's taking place in a blighted world, and we're not quite sure why. But it's actually quite hopeful, and it has a lot of interesting theological themes, actually. Some friends of mine who are avid McCarthy readers and I would say experts on McCarthy have said that this is not only their favorite book, but it's his most sort of theologically charged and most Christian, explicitly Christian, if you will, in terms of its allusions. It's actually an amazing story. It explores themes of memory, as does The Giver, and relationships between father and son, and also the role of tradition and wisdom. So there's a lot in each of these books. I'm really excited about it. A few of the details about sort of who the book club's for, what you can expect. So the book club is for Catholics, but also non-Catholics. This particular book club, we've actually done quite a bit more promoting the book club in the public. Me and some others on the team and some volunteers who have come in the past, and actually some new folks from OCIA, some neophytes from OCIA, have gone across the west side of Madison in particular and have posted book club posters in cafes, libraries, and so forth. So we'll see who comes to this book club, but all are welcome to come and engage this literature. So yeah, it's going to be a really, really interesting, I think, conversation point. Now, as I mentioned, there are going to be multiple sessions. There are actually 10 sessions of the book club this summer. You can come to all or some of them. Just note that this Thursdays will be our introductory session. And for example, if you happen to miss, we'll record all of them and post those on the website. Speaking of the website, you'll want to go there. It'll be divinemercymadison.org. I'll try to put up an image of that here. But you want to go there and check out the reading plan, as well as all the details for each of the sessions. So yeah, we'll take each book in its turn. 2 sessions for The Giver. I think we'll do, 4 for That Hideous Strength, and 3 for The Road. 3 for The Road. Or 2 for The Road, actually. I can't remember, but the details are all on the website. Finally, we'll end with a film night in which we're going to view the film version of The Giver. So it should be really interesting. It's come highly regarded. Well, it's come regarded, I should say, from some parishioners who will be involved in the teaching of the book club this summer. We've got folks like we did last summer teaching from the parish, as well as a friend of the parish coming in from Milwaukee to give some talks as well. So starting this Thursday, we begin at 6 p.m. We end at 8 p.m. This year, we've just found that it's going to be maybe a little bit easier and more amenable given our space constraints and just all sorts of other details, just to have every one of the sessions in the St. Maria Goretti Parish Hall. So you want to be sure to come there, 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. After every one of our sessions, unless something prevents us from doing so, the plan is also to continue the conversation in what I'm calling literature on tap. And we'll have that actually at the Vintage Brewing Company on Whitney Way. So it should be a really interesting and fun time together. Again, all the details are on the website. You want to make sure to check that out. We'll have study guides. We'll have the reading plan, just like we've done in the past. But it should be a really fun time. So I hope to see you there. And if you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out at all. Again, The Giver, That Hideous Strength, C.S. Lewis, and Cormac McCarthy's The Road, which I should have added to, is a relatively fast read. So The Giver and The Road are pretty short as it goes. So again, hope to see you there. And God bless. Hi, everybody. One final note. I realized that when I said that The Giver is a young adult novel, it reminded me to just make the note that, of course, these other books are not young adult novels. But you may be asking, well, what age group is this book club suitable for? Of course, this being a young adult novel, it is suitable for younger readers. As far as though it does have mature themes, of course, these other books may also be suitable for younger readers, high school age, perhaps, maybe even younger. It just depends. But I think that all depends upon your child, their reading level, their maturity level, and so forth. I had a parishioner ask me if it was okay if his child came, and I said, sure, of course it is, as long as you think it's okay. So I would just say, do your due diligence and explore these books, these themes, and if you think that a young reader is ready for such a book, by all means, have them come. Of course, if you're thinking, well, I'd rather not have my son or daughter read, The Road, for example, but The Giver is great, that's perfectly fine. Just come for that portion of the book club. So again, this is sort of think of it as a choose your own adventure kind of book club. If maybe you don't have time to do all the books, that's totally fine. Come to the sessions that you are most interested in or that you can make. If you can't make one or two or three or whatever, that's fine. Just come to the ones that you would like to come to. So again, I just encourage you to consider that for yourself and make the decisions that you want to based on sort of your criteria. So again, thank you.